gravel plain beneath the drifting gray, a lonely piano waits without a name. The hills behind it breathe in shades of green, like they have held 1,000 in-betweens. No crowd, no headlights, no dramatic scene, just wind arranging silence in a line. And something in the weather tells my chest that maybe I can finally set things down. I don't need an answer yet, I just need a place to hear what I keep beneath the noise when the day grows soft and clear. Cloud, piano, quiet and slow, play the things I cannot show in the space between the land and sky. Let the crowded thoughts untie. Cloud, piano, stay a while, but stillness in a restless mind, like a hand of weather on my shoulder. You make the heavy season lighter. The black and white keys almost match the clouds, a little order in the silver haze, and every stone beneath the muted light looks gentler than it did an hour ago. I used to run from afternoons like this, too quiet, too honest, too close to myself. But now I see the overcast can hold a softer kind of truth without demand. Nothing here is asking me to be brighter than I am, only asking I remain long enough to understand. Cloud, piano, quiet and slow, play the things I cannot show in the space between the land and sky. Let the crowded thoughts untie. Cloud, piano, stay a while, but stillness in a restless mind, like a hand of weather on my shoulder. You make the heavy season lighter. If a note could rise like mist, if a chord could rest like rain, it would sound like this wide hillside holding sorrow without pain. Cloud, piano, lead me through all the dim and honest blue, till the silence starts to feel like a ground that's kind and real. Cloud, piano, don't be grand, just stay small enough to stand with the weather and the open view, teaching me what quiet can do. On a gravel plain beneath the drifting gray, a lonely piano turns the day to grace.
These hills don't try to impress anyone, they lean into the weather and remain. No fireworks of color, just a depth that slowly works its way into my frame. The darker trees along the sloping line stand like old friends who don't need to explain. And every ridge that disappears in mist makes room for all the thoughts I couldn't name. I've been carrying too much speed for a day that asks for none, so I follow where the green meets the low and quiet sun. Quiet hills keep your shape while my noisy edges change. Let me borrow from your patience, let me learn your way of waiting. Quiet hills don't move fast, show me how a feeling lasts without turning into burden, without asking. There is mercy in a landscape that is plain, not empty, just unwilling to perform. It lets a person hear his inner weather without becoming bigger than the storm. I watch the grass bend once, then settle back. A lesson simple enough to understand. You don't have to break to prove you felt. You don't have to speak to say you stand. Every breath becomes more wide, every thought less sharp and thin, as the muted afternoon lets the quieter truth in. Quiet hills keep your shape while my noisy edges change. Let me borrow from your patience, let me learn your way of waiting. Quiet hills don't move fast, show me how a feeling lasts without turning into burden, without asking to be solved. Maybe strength is not a flare, maybe strength is staying there through a sky that won't decide whether rain will fall or slide. Quiet hills stay in view, make the dim horizon new. I don't need a brighter answer, I just need a steadier distance. Quiet hills, evergreen, hold the parts of me between what I fear and what I know, till I can let the whole thing go. The lens says nothing, but it knows how to turn a rush into a road. Gray sky laid across the afternoon, like paper over a window frame. No hard light telling me what to feel, no sharp shadow asking me to choose. Just a muted kind of honesty, a room made out of air and time. The sort of day that leaves a person standing closer to his inner life. Maybe we don't need the sun every time we need to see. Some truths only show their face in a softer frequency. Gray skies stay a little longer, we are not afraid of your quieter color. You make room for what's unfinished, you make room for what is real. Gray sky, hold the hillside gently, let the silence tell us what we've hidden in your silver ordinary light. Even broken thoughts can heal. I used to call these days uncertain, as if they owed me something bright. Now I hear the low clouds differently, like they are keeping watch, not closing in. There is comfort in the half-lit world, where every edge gives up some pride, and all the parts we try to polish can simply rest and not be right. If the blue came rushing back, would we hear this kind of grace? Or would we lose the tender things that only quiet weather makes? Gray skies stay a little longer, we are not afraid of your quieter color. You make room for what's unfinished, you make room for what is real. Gray sky, hold the hillside gently, let the silence tell us what we've hidden in your silver ordinary light. looks like cloud cover,
keeping light from burning fast. Gray sky, now I understand you. You were never there to drag me downward. You were there to make me notice how the small things still endure. Gray sky, leave when you are ready. I will keep the calm you placed around me. And the next time daylight softens, I will know what it is for. Gray sky, quiet witness, stay in memory after you are gone. There's nowhere to hide in an open field, and strangely that feels kind. No wall to bounce my thoughts against, no room for echoes to rewind. The gravel fades into a sweep of grass, then into a line of trees, and all the space between those shades unknots the pressure in my sleeves. I was bracing for a break, but the land just stayed so plain that my worry had to lose its dramatic little frame. Open field, open chest, take the tightening from my breath. Stretch me wider than the fear, till the air feels possible in here. Open field, green and spare, there is mercy in your bare. Nothing extra, nothing staged, still you turn the mood a page. Cuts through the hanging light, then vanishes behind the hill. The kind of small event a person misses when she only listens for the thrill. But now I hear the humble parts, a breeze, a stone, a passing wing, and every modest thing I notice makes the emptiness feel like a spring. Maybe peace is not a sound, maybe peace is only scale, something large enough to show why the urgent things grow pale. Open field, open chest, take the tightening from my breath. Stretch me wider than the fear, till the air feels possible in here. Open field, green and spare, there is mercy in your bare. Nothing extra, nothing staged, still you turn the mood a page. A sign tonight, I don't need a perfect phrase, just a patch of breathing land and a less defended gaze. Open field, keep me clear till the distant line draws near, and the self I dragged all day learns a slower kind of way. Open field, hold me light under all this folded white. In your unadorned embrace, I remember I have space. The world gets wider when you stop trying to fill it.
The wind comes in without a speech, no warning bell, no grand arrival, just a looseness on the back of my neck, and the sense that I might make it through. It lifts the grass but doesn't own it, moves the cloud but doesn't tear, the kind of touch that changes everything. without insisting it was there. I've been holding every hour like it might fall through my hands. Then a breeze rewrites the moment with a gentler kind of command. Gentle wind, move through me, take the stairway gradually. Not with force, not with thunder, just enough to pull me under. Something softer than control, something kind enough to hold. Gentle wind, if you know how, teach my body that now is now. I think about the ways we carry what was only meant to pass. A hard remark, a sleepless evening, a fear that grew because it lasted. But outside none of that survives, and the shape it held indoors, the weather edits every bird until it barely fits its former form. Maybe I can learn from air how to move and not possess, how to brush against a sorrow without wearing it as dress. Gentle wind, move through me, take the stairway gradually. Not with force, not with thunder, just enough to pull me under. Something softer than control, something kind enough to hold. Gentle wind, if you know how, teach my body that now is now. There are days I need a storm, and there are days I need a hand. Today I need this almost nothing that can still rearrange a man. Gentle wind, stay nearby while the low clouds travel by. Make the rigid parts unlearn every needless point of burn. Gentle wind, leave no mark, only freshness in the dark, and a steadier pulse beneath all the things I couldn't release. The kindest changes often arrive without announcing themselves. Far out where the ridge dissolves into weather and pale light, there is a line that doesn't end, only softens into sight.
I keep staring at that place where the numb begins to blur, questions I arrived with lose their edges word by word.
Not because the world is fixed, not because we've solved a thing, but because a distant line can teach the chest to breathe again.
Soft horizon, patient border between the near and maybe later. You don't promise, you don't warn, you keep the spirit open.
Soft horizon, low and wide, hold this weather by our side
till the things we overthink settle deeper than the brink.
Somewhere underneath the clouds, fields continue out of frame. Proof that what we cannot enter still can comfort just the same. I don't need to touch the distance to be changed by what it means. Only need to watch it hold all the space between extremes. What if clarity is not a sudden beam across the land? What if clarity arrives less frightened by the lack of a clean and shining track. Softer eyes and stay in view while we become something new. Not dramatic, not complete, just more grounded in our breathing. Softer eyes and silver thread pull us gently out our head into this unfinished day where the weather lets us stay. The lime is faint and still lead the heart somewhere steadier.
Nothing urgent in the clock today. Even time seems half awake. The afternoon just drapes itself across the stones and over the lake of air. I used to think this pace was waste, a gap between the useful hours. Now I hear the soft dim hum and feel the dignity of slower powers. When the world stops asking me to be quick and bright and sharp, I remember there's a self still alive beneath the parts. Slow afternoons stay on my skin like a song with room within. No big hook, no heavy turn, just a warmer way to learn. Slow afternoon, linger near, make the ordinary sincere, till the plainest minute proves it can hold a better truth. A cloud drifts over half the hill, then lets the greener color back, the kind of change that barely happens, still enough to alter what I lack. I sit inside the middle of it, not performing calm, just there. And something in the gentle dim light turns stillness into livable air. Maybe healing isn't bright, maybe healing isn't grand, maybe healing is an hour that does not demand a plan. Slow afternoons stay on my skin like a song with room within. No big hook, no heavy turn, just a warmer way to learn. Slow afternoon, linger near, make the ordinary sincere, till the plainest minute proves it can hold a better truth. All the things I didn't finish can remain without a bruise. I don't have to chase the daylight to be worthy of its use. Slow afternoon, let me keep this unguarded kind of peace, where the heart can settle down without winning any ground. Slow afternoon, pale and long, you have your own patient song, and I finally hear it clear, because there is no noise in here. The day doesn't have to rise to still be enough.
The silence here is not empty. It has weight and leaf and depth. It gathers in the darker hedges and in the pause before the next breath. Not the kind that follows heartbreak, not the kind that comes from fear, something older, more botanical, as if the land were listening near. I step softer when I feel it, like a guest inside a room, made of roots and damp and color, made of weather, shade and bloom. Green silence cover ground, with a hush that still has sound in the reeds and hidden wings, in the space beneath all things. Green silence, let me rest, where the chest unlocks its chest, and the thoughts that came in knots start to open into moss. I have lived in louder climates, rooms where every feeling shouts, but this hillside keeps another language, one that thins the static out. Even the grass seems deliberate, even the cloud has chosen tone. Nothing here is trying to rescue me, still I feel less alone. Maybe peace is not applause, maybe peace is almost missed, unless the mind has become ready for a gentler kind of witness. Green silence cover ground, with the hush that still has sound in the reeds and hidden wings, in the space beneath all things. Green silence, let me rest, where the chest unlocks its chest, and the thoughts that came in knots start to open into moss. A person can be held by land without a hand, without a plan, only by the way it stays, unconcerned with being praised. Green silence, keep me here, till the inward noise grows clear, not erased but not so large, not the captain of the dark. Green silence, deep and slow, teach me what the forests know, how to hold both ache and calm in one unremarkable poem. The quiet grows greener the longer I remain.
Everything leans toward a storm, but the storm has not arrived. The sky is full of held back water, and the fields are all alive.
There is pressure in the waiting, yet it isn't fear exactly, more like standing in a doorway, knowing weather's almost speaking. This is the hour of almost, the pause before release, the seam between the breathing in and the falling into peace. Before the rain we stand in silver,
what it's saying when it's clear. Grass turns darker by a shade. Air goes cooler in the mouth, and I feel my old defenses lose their reason one by one.
What if waiting isn't weakness? What if pause is part of change? What if clouds don't come to threaten, but to rinse the day of strain?
We don't need to force the moment, we don't need to name the end. Sometimes what arrives is weather, also arrives as a friend. Before the rain we stand in silver, not undone, just growing stiller. Every nerve tuned to the distance, every hill a listening witness. Before the rain the world is honest, no distraction left upon it, and the heart for once can hear what it's saying when it's clear. If the drops begin, let them. We have already crossed within, to the place where fear grows softer than the promise of release. Before the rain, hold this hour with its charged but tender power, neither dark nor fully bright, just the truth before it breaks light. Before the rain, let us be in this mild uncertainty, where the waiting itself becomes its own small kind of freedom. The first drop hasn't fallen, but something in us already has. Sometimes a place keeps speaking after everyone has gone. Not in words, not even music, more like tone left on a wall. The hillside has that quality, a residue of almost song, as if one note was once released here, and the air decided to prolong. I follow what I cannot catch, a ring beyond the ear, and in the effort to listen, my own pulse grows sincere. Still echoes stay suspended where the last bright feeling ended. You don't need a voice to move me, you don't need a shape to prove it. Still echo thin and long, like the aftertaste of song. In the space you lightly fill, my scattered mind grows still. There are names I never answer now, and stories I no longer carry. Yet some rooms inside me resonate when weather turns reflective, almost airy. I used to think that letting go meant to clean and total break. Now I think it sounds more like this, a fading line the heart can take, not erased and not repeated, just enough to let me know what survives a passing season often learns to travel low. Still echoes stay suspended where the last bright feeling ended. You don't need a voice to move me, you don't need a shape to prove Maybe memory at its kindest isn't sharp and isn't loud. Maybe it is only shimmer underneath the folded cloud. Still echo, fade but linger, like cool air on resting fingers. Let the note become a trail through the grass and through the pale. Still echo, drift and thin till what was lost no longer stings, and what remains is only this, a softer outline I can live with. Some songs stay by learning how to disappear.
This light doesn't arrive with triumph. It doesn't flood the world with gold. It comes filtered through a patient sky and settles where the air is cold. But I have grown to trust this brightness, because it never tries to win. It simply lays a softer surface over the places I've been thin. Not every kind of clarity needs a sharp and blinding edge. Some truths are better carried in on a dim and careful thread. Pale daylight, mild and clean, show me what the day can mean, when it doesn't have to dazzle, when it doesn't have to burn. Pale daylight, quiet guide, keep the green world at my side. You are enough to make me see what gentleness can be. Tone becomes more honest, nothing polished into beauty, nothing hidden under promise. That is why I like this hour. It refuses to pretend, and in doing so it offers a more reliable kind of friend. I don't need a banner sky to believe that I can heal. I just need a little light that knows how not to overwhelm. Pale daylight, mild and clean, show me what the day can mean, when it doesn't have to dazzle, when it doesn't have to burn. Pale daylight, quiet guide, keep the green world at my side. You are enough to make me see what gentleness can be. Let the louder colors wait. I am learning from the fade how the world can still be tender when it chooses not to shine. Pale daylight, stay a bit on the stone and meadow grass, till the parts of me that tense remember how to let things pass. Pale daylight, cool and kind, place some order in my mind and leave behind a smaller fear than the one that brought me here. A softer light still counts as light. There's a meadow farther out half concealed by drifting haze. You can barely call it present, still it alters all my days.
Maybe because some kinds of beauty do their work from far away, never asking to be touched, still reshaping how we stay.
Distance isn't always absence. Sometimes distance gives a form
to the things we need, reminding of when the inner room grows warm.
Distant meadow keep appearing at the edge of what we're hearing. You are not a destination,
You are calm in observation.
distant meadow, quiet sign
That the world extends past mine.
and the farther that you gleam,
The more I trust a softer dream.
I have lived too close to problems till they filled the total frame. Then one far off patch of color changed the scale of all my pain.
Not by fixing, not by saving, only by refusing to compete with the noise that calls itself important every time my thoughts repeat.
What if hope is not a rush,
What if hope is barely seen,
still enough to shift the spirit?
like a field beyond the green. Distant meadow keep appearing at the edge of what we're hearing.
You are not a destination,
You are calm in observation.
distant meadow,
Quiet sign that the world extends past mine.
and the farther that you gleam,
The more I trust a softer dream.
there are places we don't enter
That still open doors in us,
simply by remaining visible.
past the borders of our rush.
Distant meadows stay remote,
Like a line the low clouds roll,
so the heart can read a little.
without solving every riddle.
Distant meadow, pale and true,
Borrowed green and borrowed blue,
you remind us from afar.
how much wider living is.
Some distances do not divide, they steady.
Under the clouds the world comes closer, not smaller, just more near. The hills don't hide behind the brightness, and the wind sounds less severe. I can walk into my own thoughts without getting swallowed whole, because the sky has lowered gently and made a shelter of the soul. I used to ask for sunlight every time I felt unsure. Now I know this softer ceiling has its own kind of cure. Under the clouds I hear myself, not the version made for everyone else, not the bright one, not the strong one, just the true one breathing on. Under the clouds I can stay without forcing joy today, and that freedom feels more real than a smile I have to build. There is a piano in the distance, even when no keys are played. Maybe it lives inside the landscape, maybe in the things I saved. Every stone and leaning branch, every patch of darker green makes a room for unperformed emotion, for the self behind the scene. What if peace is not an answer, peace is being found in a day that does not ask you to be louder than the clouds. Under the clouds I hear myself, not the version made for everyone else, not the bright one, not the strong one, just the true one breathing on. Under the clouds I can stay without forcing joy today, and that freedom feels more real than a smile I have to build. Silver weather, hold me close till the need to prove is gone. Let the muted sky remind me quiet hearts still carry on. Under the clouds I belong, even in an unfinished song. Even when the light is spare, there is tenderness in there. Under the clouds let me keep this unguarded kind of peace, till I leave with something clear and a softer way to hear. The sky does not descend to crush, sometimes it descends to cover.
I came here with a mind too full and found a field that didn't flinch. No verdict in its open face, no pressure to explain the pinch. Just grass, stone, and weather held in a posture almost plain. Yet something in that plainness made my inner noise lose half its claim. The silence here is not a void, it is structure without walls, a place where thoughts can lower down instead of bouncing off themselves. Field of silence, let me stand without armor, without plan, till the parts of me that clatter learn they do not always matter. Field of silence, green and gray, keep me for this borrowed day, where the heart can ease its grip and the mind can unclench its fist. I think we spend too long indoors, call intention by our names, then step outside and meet a hillside that does not recognize our games. And I can feel like mercy to be unmeasured by the land, to know the earth keeps being earth, regardless of how much we can't. So I loosen in degrees, like the cloud cover above. Nothing sudden, nothing staged, just a slow return of trust. Field of silence, let me stand without armor, without plan, till the parts of me that clatter learn they do not always matter. Field of silence, green and gray, keep me for this borrowed day, where the heart can ease its grip and the mind can unclench its fist. Not all rescue looks like rescue. Some of it looks like a plane, some of it looks like an hour. Doesn't sharpen all your pain. Field of silence, stay unadorned. You don't need a brighter form to become the truest place I've encountered in these days. Field of silence make me small in the healthiest way of all. Small enough to hear the breeze, large enough to breathe with ease. The quieter the land becomes, the more I recognize myself.
After the wind, the grass stays bent for just a moment, then returns. Like the day remembers movement, even after motion burns.
There is a calm that follows change, not empty, not relieved exactly. More like a room, the air is cleaned, where everything sits differently.
What was shaking can grow still, what was tense can soften down. Not because the world is over, but because the rush has gone. After the wind, there is space for a gentler kind of grace. Not dramatic, not profound, just the quiet after sound. After the wind, let us stay in the wash of weathered day, where the heart comes back online without forcing any sign. The clouds still hang above the hill, but they have changed their tone somehow. Less like a warning, more like fabric laid across the evening brow.
And I've changed a little with them, not transformed, just less afraid of days that don't come full of answers, or moods that choose to lean and fade.
Maybe peace is always local, maybe peace is always near. In the minute after movement, when the body hears itself. After the wind, there is space for a gentler kind of grace. Not dramatic, not profound, just the quiet after sound. After the wind, let us stay in the wash of weathered day, where the heart comes back online without forcing any sign. We don't need a glowing finish, we don't need a clear resolve. Only this return stillness, the signs we can evolve. After the wind, keep us here in the nearly settled air, till the last remaining strain finds a softer kind of frame. After the wind, leave us light under all this folded white, carrying a smaller load than the one that brought us home. What passes through us also makes room. A path of stone cuts through the gray, not dramatic but precise. Every step makes just enough sound to remind me I have weight in life. I like the honesty of ground that answers every foot the same. No applause, no hidden message, just a surface and a pace. Maybe moving doesn't mean leaving everything behind. Maybe moving becoming less entangled in the mind. Stone path lead me on, not too fast and not too long, just enough to keep me going while the weather keeps unfolding. Stone path, cool and plain, take the pressure from my brain. Every footfall writes a line I can follow out a thought. The hills stay quiet to my left, the grass leans low beneath the cloud, and I become more body than story, more rhythm than unspoken doubt. Some roads ask you to arrive, this one only asks you walk, and there's something deeply kind about a route that doesn't talk. So I let the gravel answer where my thinking used to reign, with a measure little certainty that returns me to the frame. Stone path lead me on, not too fast and not too long, just enough to keep me going while the weather keeps unfolding. Stone path, cool and plain, take the pressure from my brain. Every footfall writes a line I can follow out a thought. One step, then another, that is all the field requires. Sometimes progress looks like weather, sometimes progress looks like quiet. Stone path stayed beneath while I gather back my breath, and the self that came in pieces learns a steadier sequence. Stone path, rough and true, I don't need a smoother road, only one that meets me where my unsettled feet are now. The ground keeps time when I cannot.
Low silver light across the slope, like evening learning how to stay. Not bright enough to claim the day, not dark enough to call it done. It lives in between the definitions that usually keep my thoughts apart. That's why I can stand here without dividing up my heart. There are shades that don't insist, yet they alter everything. This one touches stone and branch like a whisper made of tin. Low silver light, remain a while on the hill and on the wire. You don't need to glow like fire to become the thing I trust. Low silver light, patient you make the weather feel lived through, till the dimness turns from lack into something I can keep. I think about the way we worship, only what arrives intense, yet the day I will remember may be built from subtler events. A line of pale across the grasses, a breath that doesn't feel confined, a landscape stripped of all performance and a less defended mind. Maybe beauty isn't rare, maybe beauty just goes soft and waits until the pace of seed finally becomes enough. Low silver light, remain a while on the hill and on the wire. You don't need to glow like fire to become the thing I trust. Low silver light, patience you make the weather feel lived through, till the dimness turns from lack into something I can keep. The dark day leaves in silence something better, something weathered parts of hearts. Oh, silver light fade if you must. Yeah, I've already done enough. Left your cool hand on the land and some steadiness in my hands. Oh, silver light, nearly gone, still your after feeling stays on, showing me that quiet grace can outlast a louder blaze. Some endings do not darken, they simply turn silver.
I thought home was built from walls, from certainty, from lamps, from names. But standing here beneath this sky, I feel another kind of place.
A home in weather, home in land, home in the breath before the rain, home in the piano left outdoors, still finding beauty in the plain. Maybe home is not possession, maybe home is how we stand when the world gives us a moment wide enough to understand. Home in the weather, home in the gray, home in the green that holds the day, home in the wind that doesn't keep anything from learning peace. Home in the weather, home at last, not because the storm has passed, but because we've learned to live inside the sky the way it is. The hills don't know my history, the field can't say what I've become, yet all of this unclaimed horizon lets me put the fragments down. And all the songs across this playlist gather quietly in the air, not as answers, not as endings, more as proof that I was here.
Long enough to hear the stillness, long enough to hear the ground, long enough to find shelter in the place without a house. Home in the weather, home in the gray, home in the green that holds the day, home in the wind that doesn't keep anything from learning peace. Home in the weather, home at last, not because the storm has passed, but because we've learned to live inside the sky the way it is. If tomorrow comes in sunlight, if tomorrow comes in rain, we will know this softer wisdom doesn't vanish with the change. Home in the weather, home in this unremarkable tenderness, in the stone, the cloud, the field, in the truce the dim day yields. Home in the weather, let it stay beyond the limits of this day, as a steadier kind of art, a little hillside in the heart. Not every home has a door, some homes are made of weather.